Boxing truth here. Wanted to talk a little bit about Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, and Eddie Hearn's beef with the promoters involved of the Tyson Fury-Vladimir Klitschko rematch. And now Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua, their names are buzzing in the media right now, especially since Joshua is coming off a spectacular knockout win, winning a world title much quicker than expected. No one expected Anthony Joshua to have a world title around his waist this early in his professional career. And as a result, his name is buzzing in the media, getting a lot of attention. And all everyone seems to be talking about is a potential fight between him and Tyson Fury in a big unification fight that will probably be the biggest fight money-wise in the heavyweight division. The most significant fight for sure in the heavyweight division. As far as financial-wise, Eddie Hearn will dispute that and say that a fight with David Haye will potentially be the biggest money fight out there for Anthony Joshua, but that David Haye is lacking a world title belt around his waist, and belts matter, belts add value to a particular fight. And all the attention Anthony Joshua is getting is irritating Tyson Fury. He feels Anthony Joshua doesn't deserve this type of attention, this type of hype. Tyson Fury has stated his true feelings upon Joshua, saying that he's a hype job, a bum, and that all the champions that have straps around their waist are imposters, that he's the real king of the heavyweight division. He's the linear heavyweight champion. And Tyson Fury had a very interesting press conference yesterday. Was his usual himself, made some funny-ass statements, said a lot of brash statements as well, controversial. And also his team expressed the lack of respect Tyson Fury is getting since dethroning Vladimir Klitschko. They claim he's getting more racist remarks thrown at him, more shade than ever before. But Tyson Fury understands that when you achieve great success, it's only natural to get hate and jealousy among people for his accomplishments. With Tyson Fury, he was definitely his usual self, had a very interesting press conference. It's always good to tune into a Tyson Fury press conference. It's entertaining TV. It's definitely something to watch, look out for. And he went in on Anthony Joshua, Eddie Hearn, especially Eddie Hearn. He called Eddie Hearn a pussy, saying that he's brainwashing the British public because the British public is being thrilled by a hype job and a bum he feels in Anthony Joshua. And the promoters of the event, they also throwing shade at Eddie Hearn. Perhaps, bitterness, jealousy on both sides, definitely. Nick Hennessy and Frank Warren are involved in the Fury-Klitschko rematch. And they're also throwing shade at Eddie Hearn, saying that, he's a daddy's boy, born with a silver spoon, not a self-made man. And that, like in the videos that was presented during the press conference, we got a little more information about how this fight is on Box Nation, why it's on Box Nation. Well, this is according to the Fury people, as well as Frank Warren, and also Mick Hennessy, the promoter for Tyson Fury. Of course, there's two sides of every story, but according to their side, Box Nation stepped up. They proved to Team Fury that they really wanted this fight. They wanted the rights fees to this fight. and it presented the best financial package. As I said in other videos involving the situation, that Tyson Fury and his team were going to go after the best financial package. Now Eddie Hearn, he was talking shit, saying that it's bullshit. Sky Sports turned the fight down. They don't even want the fight. But according to Tyson Fury, Sky Sports, they were interested. They had made an offer, but according to him, they couldn't afford it. It just wasn't the enough of an offer compared to what Box Nation put up in order to get the rights fees to air the fight for July 9th at the Manchester Arena. And it's hard to believe Eddie Hearn, because Sky Sports was interested. They bought the rights fees to the first fight. Of course, they'd be interested in the rematch, but they got outbidded. And Frank Warren, in interviews on IFL TVs, he's stating that Box Nation has a lot more juice in order to get the biggest fights on their platform. And going by what they're showing on their subscription channel, the content they're providing, it seems to be true. I mean, they're buying a lot of big fights, the rights fees to fights in America like Canelo Khan. Of course, they got the rights fees to Fury Klitschko rematch, other fights evolving in America. So they're providing a lot of boxing content to their subscribers, and not just one promoter providing the content. It's a series of promoters from around the world, interesting fights from around the world that they're buying to show this to subscribers. And on the other hand, Sky Sports, which is considered the more established pay-per-view platform, and according to fighters in the UK, writers and people involved in the UK business of boxing, they say that Sky Sports is where it's at. That's where the money is at. But it just seems that they only provide content involving matchroom fighters, Eddie Hearn's fighters, and sometimes they'll do co-promotions with promoters that Eddie Hearn does business with, like Sutherland and a few others. But I don't know, it just seems like Matchroom. Well, of course, Eddie Hearn has the exclusive deal with Sky Sports through 2021. People in the industry have disputed that deal, saying that it's bullshit, but it seems to be legit. He has a deal with Sky Sports exclusively through 2021, and he's going to be providing a lot of shows a year for that platform involving his fighters. And it's a good platform for him to develop his talent and showcase his stars. And I don't know, any UK viewers watching this, y'all tell me. I mean, who's doing it right now? I mean, is it Eddie Hearn? Is it Frank Warren? I mean, who has the better stable? I mean, when I look at their fighters, Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn, I mean, Eddie Hearn has the cash cow in Anthony Joshua. He also has a promising young fighter in Callum Smith. He has he's got Scott Quigg. He's got James DeGale for a few more fights at least. He's got Lee Selby. He has doing this on the top of the dome. So my bad if I miss a few names, but I think he's got Martin Murray. He's got some other fighters. Damn, I just can't think right now. But compared to Frank Warren, Frank Warren, he has a few fighters, but I mean, I don't know, it's a little lacking in name recognition. I mean, he has Billy Joe Saunders. He just signed Hughie Fury to a deal. That's a very valuable piece for him for the future. Hughie Fury seems like he's gonna be something in the future. I've seen him fight a couple of times. He's got some potential. We'll see where it goes from there. Frank Warren also has Terry Flanagan, Liam Smith, but those guys, I'm not sure if they're big draws. I mean, it's funny when Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn, they'd be gunning on each other, or just clowning each other every chance they could get. It's funny that they'd be getting at each other for their shows, and how many tickets they sold. That they don't know how to promote shit. They can't promote a show properly. They can't sell. They don't got the talent for selling tickets at each other. Just throwing jabs at each other Also questioning the star potential of each other's fighters. Like Eddie Hearn will go after Frank Warren's fighters, saying like, "Oh, you got no ticket sellers. Nobody comes to watch Terry Flanagan box compared to my lightweights like Anthony Crolla because we have a bigger platform and more subscribers." But it just seems to me Frank Warren is the more desperate one of the two when it comes to making fights between the two promoters, between Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren. Like, I don't know if have they ever done business with each other in like recently? Any UK viewers watching this, just feel free to comment. Drop a comment. I mean, when's the last time these two did business with each other? And how would it work? Frank Warren has the Box Nation, his network, and Eddie Hearn has his network with Sky Sports. So it'll be difficult for a fight to be made, right? Like they will have to do like a co-production for fights, and it's similar like to in the United States. The two power brokers here in the United States, Bob Arum and Al Heyman, they don't do business with each other unless it's a mandatory, or it's for a vacant title, or there's a $500 million involved. That's when they do business with each other. So similar situation in the United States, in the UK, same shit. Just different areas. But it's just interesting the situation here, how the fight was made, the Fury Klitschko rematch. They announced it right around the time, right before Anthony Joshua's fight with Charles Martin, because Eddie Hearn was trying to put a Anthony Joshua fight for his first defense at Wembley. And of course, the Fury people and people involved with their promotion felt disrespected. And Eddie Hearn has since he's fallen back on that statement. He knows better than, because it just doesn't make sense for either of the parties or the promoters that will put on a show on the same day, because they'll be hurting each other's business. Just makes no sense. So Eddie Hearn has opted to put Anthony Joshua back on for June 25th at the O2 Arena, same venue he was at when he knocked out Charles Martin. And some opponents are being discussed. Frank Warren already stated that it's going to be Malik Scott that he's going to fight, and that's a very good possibility. It's going to be Malik Scott. To me, I don't want Anthony Joshua to fight Malik Scott because he's already laid down for Deontay Wilder. I mean, is he going to take his money and lay down once again, even try to come to win? Is he even going to try to beat Anthony Joshua if he gets that assignment on June 25th? So I would rather Malik Scott not get that opportunity. I've already seen him lay down once. Don't need to see him lay down again. But the thing is, Anthony Joshua's star is really rising. He's already got interest from the American networks, from HBO and Showtime. Hearn's right now negotiating with both networks in America to secure a long-term deal for the rights fees for Anthony Joshua's future bouts. And I have a feeling Hearn's going to go with HBO. Even though Showtime showed, they rolled the dice with Joshua first. They was the one that showed interest with Joshua's fights first. But HBO is definitely interested now. And also, they're going to be airing the rights fees for the Fury Klitschko rematch in America. So, of course, they're going to want to sign Joshua to a long-term deal, since there's so much upside for Joshua if he keeps winning. But look at the dynamic it's created that Joshua became a world champion. I mean, his name and Tyson Fury's name is buzzing right now with the media. No one seems to, and when it comes to heavyweights, everyone's just talking about these two. There's hardly any attention going on with the other heavyweights, especially now. I mean, it's right now the spotlight's on Joshua and Tyson Fury. But I don't see them fighting this year. I don't see that fight happening. Now the Fury, they doubt Eddie Hearn's going to pull the trigger with this fight. And that's what a lot of people in the industry feel. There are a lot of writers as well. They feel the same way. They feel Eddie Hearn's going to milk it, that he's going to get him as many fights as possible before he pulls the trigger on a Tyson Fury fight. They'll eventually fight, but at the right time, especially the right time with Eddie Hearn. Because right now, Anthony Joshua is too green. He wouldn't beat Tyson Fury right now. Now, Fury, he's got to really focus on his rematch. I know he's irritated. He's annoyed that Josh was getting all this attention. Was pissed off at the number of times his name was mentioned during his press conference. I mean, he snapped at Kugan Cassius, man. He was like, "Do you want to talk about Anthony Joshua? Or do you want to talk about my balls?" And he just is tired of answering a lot of questions about Anthony Joshua. But for real, that throughout that whole press conference, I mean, Joshua's name was brought up a lot. It seemed to be talking about him more than Fury's actual fight with Klitschko, and that's another tough task Fury has to get through. I mean, Klitschko is no joke, man. Still very determined at 40 years of age. He wants his titles back. And Fury has to focus on that assignment. And he knows that the threat Klitschko provides, he feels he's, 10 times the man as the other champions, paper champions in the heavyweight division. So he wants to focus on Vladimir, who was the man, and then he'll focus on the other bums in the heavyweight division, according to Tyson Fury. First, he'll take care of the heavyweight champion in the UK and Anthony Joshua. Then he'll go after the Americans, particularly Deontay Wilder. But Joshua is next on Tyson Fury's sights. That's the biggest heavyweight money fight for him in the heavyweight division. He doesn't want to fight David Haye, so it's going to be Anthony Joshua. But the question is, will Eddie Hearn pull the trigger very soon? I mean, with Anthony Joshua, I see him milking it for as long as he can, make as much money as he can, and then eventually pull the trigger with a Tyson Fury bout. But there's still opponents being discussed for Anthony Joshua. He's going to remain in the headlines because Eddie Hearn's planning to announce his next opponent very shortly, perhaps as early as this weekend, just to keep his name in the limelight, keep his name buzzing between media circles. And it's going to be interesting to see who's going to be the opponent. Is it going to be Malik Scott? Obviously, it's going to be an American, because his next fight is going to be on American Premium Network, on American Network channel, a premium network channel like HBO or Showtime. So ideally, they're going to want to look for an American opponent. Perhaps Bernaim Stavern, perhaps Malik Scott, perhaps Bryant Jennings, but unlikely. He's coming off 2 knockout losses. Perhaps Jarrell Miller, the prospect that fought on Showbox. It's most likely will be an American. It's cool to see a rivalry developing between, in a heavyweight division. This is what makes boxing interesting, a storyline, a anticipation of a big showdown between Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. It's still too early to predict when they'll fight, but when it goes down, it's going to be a big, massive event, and hopefully Fury is still motivated as he was winning the title now that he has to defend it, because he jokes around saying that he's only in it for the money now. The rematch with Klitschko, the only thing that motivates him is money, and that he's got everything he's wanted. He's accomplished everything that he's wanted in boxing. That anything else out there is just money fights. There's nothing the other challengers or title holders have that he wants. But just wanted to talk about this situation with Fury, Joshua. Also, Eddie Hearn's beef with his rivals involved with the promotion of Fury Klitschko rematch. Just a interesting story developing between all the parties involved, but can't wait to see what happens in the next 6 to 12 months. It's going to be very intriguing, a lot of anticipation. Just the build-up is just as fun watching as the actual fight. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.